Culture itself was political. Visibility was power. And Black art and Black life were inherently beautiful, and when made visible through cultural production, they could challenge white assumptions about Black humanity. Freedom, in his view, emerged through expression rather than restraint. Artistic experimentation signaled modernity and cultural maturity. Pluralism mattered. There was no single way to be Black. Folk culture, refinement, pleasure, and modernism could coexist, and Black expression did not require discipline or policing to be legitimate. Du Bois did not disagree that culture mattered. He disagreed about how much risk Black people could afford. Du Bois believed that Black art circulated in a hostile white society. Black art would be judged as evidence of the race, and representation carried collective consequences. When Du Bois criticized work as vulgar or too radical, he wasn't rejecting Black culture. He was rejecting what he believed white power would weaponize. Du Bois once said, "All art is propaganda and ever must be," meaning art should advance liberation, educate, mobilize, and serve clear racial goals. For Du Bois, political was not expressive, it was not pleasurable, it was strategic, moral, and disciplined. And this was not about taste, it was about survival under scrutiny. I'll also add that Du Bois believed that Black people should not depend on white people to support Black art, and that Black people should be supporting Black art. Because when you depend on white dollars to support Black art, it skews the messaging and it sanitizes it, and it loses its value. So while he thought Black people could police Black art, he didn't think white people should. He ran a strict program. He was not giving invitations to the cookout. Both believed art could move the race forward, but they disagreed on whether it should be curated or plural, disciplined or emergent, strategic or expressive. This is the core tension of the Harlem Renaissance. Some wanted it to be managed, curated, and intentional, and some wanted culture to be liberated, unapologetic, and expressive. And crucially, these were not abstract debates. These competing visions shaped who got published, who received patronage, which artists were elevated or sidelined, and why blues, jazz, sexuality, and folk speech were constantly contested. As we'll learn, the Harlem Renaissance often looks fractured, and that's because it was. The Harlem Renaissance wasn't a single ideology. It was a collision of competing ideas about modernity, culture, power, and identity. That's not a failure. That's what makes something a Renaissance. I mean, Leonardo and Michelangelo had beef too. The Harlem Renaissance was not a monolith. It was a collision of competing ideas about culture, power, and identity. You'll see in this course, the new Negro was not one idea, it was a battlefield. Before our next lecture, sit with this reflection question and leave your answer in the comments. How did a cultural movement born in a segregated neighborhood at the top of Manhattan become a global story? Next lecture will follow this thread directly because it turns out the new Negro had the same problem. Niggas trying to stick him for his paper. I'll see you next lecture.